What's going on, party people? Too big. What's going on, Crystal? All right, let me slide over here. Yeah. Happy Friday to the party people. All right. Make sure my lighting is good. Okay, you just got back from Florida. All right. All right. All righty. So I'm just making sure I got all my stuff checked. And everybody is on and popping. Hold on 1 second. One little adjustment. Check for you. Whenever you ready, you can grab one of those chairs. I don't know if that might be too hard for you. All right. All right. Let's see if I got this correct here. Oh, you feel too low? Are you good enough?
You over. You got to get over.
Yeah, I got over. There we go.
You still got to get over. You still got to get over. Hi. Hi, party people.
What's going on, Pip? All right, let me do this here. There we go. There we go. We'll adjust it that way. There we go. See? What's going on? Yep. Yep. She's in the house, y'all. She's here. So what's going on with y'all today? Let me give the link out there in case anybody want to hop on, ask a few questions. So with this, hey, what's going on, Nelson? What's going on with you, man? Yep, we got more than company. Y'all can call it. I can't call it company. She's more than company. But yeah,
I live here.
So we decided to just hop on. Y'all know we do the Fritter Friday, kick it with y'all. We got the link there for y'all if anybody want to hop on, got any questions. I know one thing, and if y'all could just hit that like button for me and everything. Throw that up there. But there we go. Yeah, Miss Shannon from New York. Yeah. Well, I know. You love it when Miss Griff comes on. Mm-hmm. See, I told everybody they love it when she's hopped up here and stuff. But yeah, we decided to hop on and everything. It's been a minute. It's been a while. She's been busy. I've been busy and everything. And just figured we hop on and chop it up with y'all for a little bit. I got a 4:00 HELOC to do and all that good stuff. But yeah, hey, look, we know that things are changing in the mortgage world just right now across the board. They're talking about recessions and all of that. And many of you have decided, y'all trying to decide whether you want to go forward in this business or not. And I know it can be a little difficult, but you got to learn to make adjustments, and And I see my wife on a daily basis making adjustments for her business, for the things that she's doing to stay, I guess you could say, stay relevant and to be able to meet the need of her clientele and to continue to have revenue coming in. Because I think the notary business, as well as the cosmetology industry, people are always going to need our services. Even today, somebody called me and asked me to do notarize a power of attorney for them next week. So got all that stuff together. I have to do some research because the person doesn't have ID. So I got to find out from Virginia what's the proper credible witness protocols, all of that good stuff. But the work is out there. You have to make sure that you're available so that when they call you, you're able to respond and everything. So talk to the people about some of the stuff you've been doing to make adjustments in your business.
Well, like Griff just said, or somebody up here. Oh, Violet the Notary just said we must learn how to pivot, and I think that's one of the big things about continuing to grow in business in general is to learn how to adjust as needed, and know that what you did last year and the success that you had for last year at that level is not going to be enough for this year. It's not going to be enough for this year. Things are changing so fast in business and society as a whole, and how people view things and how people look at things and how people see our services that we offer, that we have to make sure that we're able to adjust, and that the adjustments that we make are effective. Next month will be my 5th year in business. And I know the things that I did in the first year, I would never do now. I would never do those things now. I, was kind of wet behind the ears. There were things that I did know because I was already a teacher, a cosmetology teacher and an instructor, but there was a lot of things that was learning constantly. There was a constant transition. There was a constant the learning growth, the learning curve. The learning curve was very, very large, especially in those first 3 years or so. And the first 5 years of you being in business is so very crucial. And if you waste those first 5 years, if you don't learn how to adjust and make effective adjustments, not just change because somebody else changed, but make effective adjustments for your business to meet your clientele, for your target audience, and really be effective with those adjustments, and learn from your mistakes, learn from your poor choices and your bad decisions, because you're going to have a mixture of all of those things somewhere along the line, and learn how to fail forward. You really have to learn how to fail forward. You can't be stuck in what went wrong. I know for me, I like to reflect and evaluate and look at what happened. Even if it was something that went wrong, there was a failure there of some level and some degree. I like to look at what happened, what part of that failure was my fault, and what part of that failure could have been avoided, and we could have did it differently or did it better, or we could have done, taken something out, period, and I like to do that. I like to reflect. As teachers, they tell us to reflect on the lesson, and we have to learn how to do that in business. We have to learn how to reflect on what happened today, or what happened last week, or what happened the first 6 months of the year. And so, like, even for me right now, I am getting ready for later on in the summer. and in the fall. And those are traditional times when people look to start cosmetology school and get their cosmetology training. So, me being in the business of training people to become cosmetologists, I have to think ahead. I have to think about what I'm doing now with my current students, um, and what I need to be doing for future prospective students. And that's how you have to think. Even in the notary business, you have to look at there's a time for marketing, there's a time for advertising, there's a time for research, um, and there's a time to really get out there and do the work. There's really a time for you to get out there and do the work, do what is necessary to really build your business. And a lot of times people get caught up in the hype and the marketing and the advertising of the business. But there comes a point where you have to do the work. You have to run your business. You have to, get your hands dirty and get out there in the field, whatever your field is. For all of you, it's the notary work. For me, it's the education of cosmetology. And so I go through those seasons where I get to advertise. Like, me and my husband just sat down and did some updates on my website.
Yeah.
For some price changes, just changed some things and pulled some things down that were up there. And if you have a website, if you have a Google business listing, if you have a social media platform that you're using, I use YouTube. If you use YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, keep your social media platforms up to date. If you have that Google listing, keep it up to date. If you need to adjust some prices, because a lot is going on with inflation, supply chain issues, things of that nature, you need to make sure that you do that and govern yourself accordingly with that. That's something that I really had to learn how to do. Yesterday's prices don't work for today. they just don't. They just don't. So I had to make some adjustments to some of my prices, and some of them stayed the same. Some of them, there was some increase, and I had to change some wording on my website so that I could clarify some things and make sure that I'm crystal clear with my online presence. And that's something that we all have to make sure that we work on. That we work on our online presence, that we make sure that we're being professional, that we're clear, that people actually know the message that we're trying to, project or to say, and and make sure that all of our platforms say the same thing. Griffin knows that I'm big on that.
Yeah.
That all of my platforms say the same thing. So if you go to my Google listing, it says what it says. If you go to my website, it says the same thing. If you go to even my YouTube channel and you look at the videos that are up there, you're going to see the same thing. And that's what you have to learn how to do. You have to learn how to understand the time and the season that you're in when you're doing business. When you're first getting started, your business is going to look a lot different in the very, very beginning. But don't get stuck, at, I'm getting started. I'm getting started. Guess what? I was scared too. I was scared when I first got started. My first time having my own business and my own name, I didn't, I had to get a lot of help from my husband. But once he showed me what to do, and my husband, the way that he is with all of you party people, he is no different with me. He is the same way with me. He helped me to get my LLC, set up and all of that, because I was teaching for the public school system at that time. But once he helped me to get all of that set up, because, I just was really short on time, because when you're a teacher for the public school system, a lot of your time is taken up with that particular type of job. So once he, helped me get started, he handed everything over to me. He said, "This is your business. This is your business." So even though we talk and we brainstorm, we share ideas and things of that nature, and we bounce things off of each other, he says, "This is your business. This is your business." So I couldn't sit back and, be lazy and, just, okay, I'm gonna lean on him. I had to really get in there and do the things that I needed to do. Now, there was times where it seemed like I wasn't, moving as fast as I needed to be moving. My husband gave me that, that nudge or that push, and he shared certain things with me, brought certain things to light. Sometimes I really, didn't like it. Sometimes I really didn't. Sometimes I really didn't, really didn't like it because I wasn't there yet. I wasn't there yet mentally where I am now. And now that I'm coming up on my 5th anniversary of, my business being open, I look back on those times and I see where I was and where I needed my mentality to change and where I still had, that 9 to 5 W-2 mindset. And if you're going to be a full-time entrepreneur, you can't afford to have a W-2 mindset. They're two different mindsets. So I had to really get that uprooted out of me, and once I did, I was able to make adjustments a lot quicker. It was no longer my husband um, coming to me and saying, "Hey, you need to do this, you need to do that." After a while, I was coming to him and saying, "Hey, this is what I'm going to be doing. This is what I'm thinking about doing. This is what I want to put on my website. This is what I've already, I'm putting on the Google Plus my Google business listing, because he started that for me as well. He started it for me, but then he handed it over to me. He handed it over to me. And so a lot of times, even when you have someone like I have my husband who is very, very supportive of me in my business, even though you have that support, you still can't allow that support to make you lazy. And I really
Yeah.
want to put that in there because support doesn't mean that you can be lazy and just sit back and do nothing. When when you're getting help, that means that you're actually doing something for somebody to come alongside you and give you assistance. And the one thing that I can say about um, my husband, he doesn't have a problem with helping people who are, really trying to, move forward and whatever it is that they're doing. And so I had to show my husband that I was serious, about my business, that I took it seriously. And there's so many different parts to my business. Because I wear a lot of hats. I'm the owner of the school. So I'm like the principal. I administrate the school. I have to do, paperwork. I have to do documents. I have to report things to the state. I have to report things to the city. I got to report things to the landlord. So there's a lot of things that I had to start learning how to do. I had to start learning how to look at things as far as maintenance in the building. My husband helps me with that. But at the same time, he's not going to be in the building every day like I am to see that there's a leak in the ceiling or something's, happening in the restroom or whatever, or the light went out. And then there are certain times that there are things that I could actually go out and buy and put it back or put it together or whatever, or at least go pick up the supplies or the equipment. I do that so that I am not being lazy. My support from him is just that, it's support, but it's my business. And so a lot of times, and I want to say this, to the ladies, okay? Because a lot of times, we can give our spouses honey-do lists, and we can get where we just sit back on them. We could just sit back and rely on them and rely on them and rely on them. And they are, I know my husband is the head of my household. He is the spiritual head of my household, the physical head of my household, and all of that. But he is a very busy man. So when I need certain things done, I need to, coordinate that with him, come up with good times where if it's something I really need him to help me with it, that we will be able to map that out. So like back in December, I wanted to paint the stations. I wanted to paint my salon, my stylist stations in my school/salon. And I knew that he was still going to be working. I had 2 weeks off because it was our winter break. So when I look at certain things like maintenance, I look at when the school is going to be closed and we're not going to have people in the building, not going to have students in the building, things of that nature. So that if we're going to do things like paint, any type of, contractors have to come in and do any type of work, any type of maintenance work, whether it's electrical, whether it's plumbing, whatever the case might be, we actually have to put it on the calendar. And so I had never done any painting before. And my husband painted 2 of the stations when we first moved in the building. Now we've been in the building a year now, and he painted 2 of the stations. And I thought to myself, how hard could it be to paint the stations? I was like, you're just putting paint on the station. And I was wondering why he only did those 2 stations and then he never did any more. The other 4 stations remained the beige color that they were. And I wanted them to be burgundy, a divine wine. And so they just stayed there. And so I was like, before the end of, this year, I want these stations painted. So, we had the paint and we had the primer, and then he began to explain to me what I had to do to paint. And, he said, in order for you to cover the, you just can't put the paint up there. He said, you're going to have to put the primer up there. You're going to have to put the primer up there. He had already put the painter's tape around the bottom of the stations, and all of that. And that had been up there since we moved in the building. And then he kept that up there. And then I just threw down the drop cloths or the plastic, and I just had it down there. And this is me. I'm telling on me. I just threw it down there. And, I thought that we were good. I put on my overalls, I'm being just like, a lot of times as women, we just want to look good while we're working. I had on my overalls, I'm taking pictures, and this is what I'm doing. My husband's like, no, you need to tape these drop cloths to the floor. You need to tape the drop cloths to the floors so that it doesn't move, so it's not shifting back and forth. And I was like, okay. And he was like, yeah. And then put these knee pads on. And then, and put on these gloves. And after a while, I was like, okay, is it all of this? He said, you're going to have to put I had to put 3 coats of primer. 3 coats of primer. And then it was 3 coats of color. So that he said the primer, and then he was, just explaining to me. So this took, it took like a week. It took about a week. So he showed me, he started it out. He started it off for me, and then he left. He started it off for me, and then he left. And so I was grateful for what he showed me because I had never done any painting like that before. And I stayed in there and I painted and I painted and I painted, and I did not know how hard it was to cover. That light blue was a pastel blue and a pastel green and a brown that we were trying to cover. um, before we could put that divine wine, that deep burgundy color on the stations. And then, he kept reminding me, we had to keep it off the floor, because once that paint or anything falls onto that hardwood floor, it's hard to get it off the floor. So we had plastic everywhere, and eventually we got the job done. And I learned a lot, and I'm learning how to take ownership in my business. I'm learning how to take ownership in the transformation of the way the building looks on the inside. I don't want to be one of those business owners that just want to be the face of it, but have not put in the work. And so a lot of times that's what people will do. They want to be the face. They want to reap the benefits. They want to, they want to get the profits. They want to get the money, but they don't want to put in the investments. They don't want to put in the money, the time. It's 3 T's: your time, your talent, and your treasure, that you are going to put into a business. And it's more than just being the face of your business. It's more than just walking around saying, oh, I got a business, or I got a business, but you never really do the business. Mm-hmm. You never really do the work. And I remember when my husband asked me last year, he said, so what do you want to do? Do you want to do a re-grand opening, an open house? And I told him no. I said, we spent 11 grand in 3 weeks. I said, as soon as I get this permit, I'm opening back up, and we're going to start doing clients, and we're going to start working. I'm going to start doing business, and that's the key. That is the key. Do you think that I was not, nervous or, afraid of what was going to happen? We were still paying rent on the last place that I had moved from. Mm-hmm. We were still paying rent for another whole year. So we couldn't afford to go, I'm going to sit back and I'm going to chill and just brag about having a business and brag about having a building. No, I got to be on site. I have to be on site. I have to know what that business looks like. I have to know what's going on in my business. I have to know whether, I'm bringing business in. I have to answer the phone when people call, because I had a bad habit. If I didn't know what the number was, if it wasn't in my contacts, I didn't answer the phone. Well, I can't do that now because I have a business. I have a business. So these are adjustments that I had to make, because when I first retired from the school system, I went to the rec center, and I was in the aqua pool. I was in the aqua tread. I was in the aqua, I was in the aqua pool, and the aqua track with the senior citizens, and I was having a good time every day because I was so used to being in that school all the time. I barely saw the light of day. So for about 6 months, I was living my best life, until my husband said, hey, I need the car. I'm gonna need to drop you off at your suite. And I was like, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to be doing? He said, think about it. And that's when I started really, I was huffing and puffing, but it forced me to do business. It forced me to be at my place of business. It forced me to start advertising and marketing my business, and really doing what I needed to do. So you got to think about it. If you've become one of those people that have just been like, sometimes it's not your spouse. You're like, well, I got a job. I got a good job. I make good money. I just want to, I just kind of want to do this. Guess what? If you do that, like when I first started my business, I used to work at Sally Beauty Supply, and I worked for Virginia Beach City Public Schools. Okay. So I had 2 jobs. I had 2 other jobs when I started my business. And so it was very, very easy. And I see it as this now. It was very easy for me not to do business because I had other funds coming in. So a lot of times you don't even, it might not be your spouse that you're leaning on and being lazy on. It may be the fact that you have another job and you have income coming in, and it causes you to be lazy without you even really realizing it. And so you'll hide behind the moniker of being nervous and being scared and all of that, or I don't know enough. Well, guess what? You're not going to know enough if you don't do anything. If you don't, some things are just going to, experience is one of your best teachers.
Yeah.
So a lot of the things that I know now, as a school owner, I've learned in the last 5 years. There are some things I learned when I was back, with the public school system that gave me, the foundation, administratively for what I'm doing now. Of course, I know how to write lesson plans. I know how to write curriculum. I know how to, do documentation and things of that nature. But when it came to the business side of things, I just went through something today or yesterday. You gave me the paper and they told me to send me, what they call it, a certificate of insurance.
Yeah.
They told me to send them the certificate of insurance for my business. They said the other one had expired. I had the new one. They said it's in your lease. It's in your lease. You must send it. You must send the certificate of insurance, and it must have us listed as the additional insured, and it must have the limits of liability listed and things of that nature. And I was like, oh my gosh, do I have that? And then I remembered I had it. It was sitting right on top of in my classroom. But I didn't realize that I needed to send them an updated copy when I renewed my business insurance. And so these are things that I am, that I am learning now that I am 1 year in to having my own building. See, the way things was for me when I was in that other location. I was my 2 suites were inside of another building. So all of those permits and things like that, that building that I was housed in, those people that was renting that space, they took care of all of that. But then when I got in my own building, those responsibilities now became my business's responsibilities. So now I'm learning. I went through another health inspection. We passed that, no violations. They showed up on site. There was no announcement. There was no, that's what inspectors are supposed to do. And so I passed that. I've got, my new permits for the year, all of my licenses. And I think I have 1, 2, 3, 4 licenses. All of my licenses are due for renewal this year. Of course, I have to pay my business taxes, business property taxes. You got to do your taxes for, just your business and your personal, state and federal taxes. All of these things are part of the business, and you have to keep up with it. This is all on top of me teaching my students on a daily basis. And I also do continuing education myself to keep myself abreast of what's going on in the industry. My curriculum is about to change over to a new edition. That's a big deal when they upgrade the actual curriculum that you use to teach your students with. So that's a big deal. I've been in the process of purchasing the new editions of the curriculum for my instructor program and my what else? My instructor program and my cosmetology program. We're also in the process of getting approved for the competency exam classroom program, which means that once we get approval for that, we'll be able to accept transfer students from other cosmetology schools. So there's a lot of things that go on that administratively within my business. But if I was being lazy, I wouldn't even be able to, I wouldn't be at this point where I'm at now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I have a goal to get all of my equipment that I need by the end of the year to run the salon and the school the way that I, really need to. Because when I was in that other, when I was other in the other location, I had two small suites.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Keisha Davis. I had two, I had two small suites, and we just didn't have enough room to store all of the things that was really needed for me to run a school. And so now that we have a bigger location and all of that, I've been, as the income has been coming in, I reinvest back into my business as my students, pay their tuition, and as I continue to do salon services myself, because I still do hair, I still have clients that come in. Then hi, Sister Diamond. How are you? Shalom. As my students still come in and enroll, and as I still work on building my own personal clientele, that's income that's coming in through my business. Now, I just can't take that money and go, oh, I'm gonna buy me a Coach bag. I'm gonna go buy me a Michael Kors bag. Or I'm gonna go on this trip. No, I have to reinvest in my business. I had to go out and find mannequins that had hair that looked like mine, so that my students can be able to get real world experience. So these are things that I've been working on. I still have to get what is it? Those air ventilation systems. I have to get the portable ones.
Oh, yeah.
So because of the smell of some of the things that the students have to do, like the perms and the relaxers, even though a lot of the things are done on mannequins, they have an odor. And so the acrylic nails and stuff like that, they have an odor. And so we have to have the portable ventilation systems to pull that out. So these are just some of the things that you have to think about. You know, I hear Griff talk about it all the time. Do you have the hardware, the software, and the supplies as a notary? Okay. When I look at the things that I have to have everything from mannequins, products, chemicals. I have to have, tables, stations, and all kinds of stuff. The list goes on and on. So I have to have a whole lot. My business is very much a brick and mortar business. So I have to have a lot of things on site. But for those of you who are in the notary business, you have to ask yourself, do you have the hardware, the software, and the supplies that you need to be effective in the notary business? The hardware, the software, and the supplies. And a lot of people are trying to start in the notary business or in business, period. Okay, because I've seen this even in the cosmetology business, people starting salons, people starting schools, and things of that nature, and they don't have all of their ducks in the row. They're putting the cart before the horse. They don't have the things that they need. Even when I look back on it now, I was kind of, before I became a licensed school, I was already a business. I was already in a continuing education business where I offered educational services to people who were already licensed in cosmetology. So I was already had a level of establishment. But there's a lot of people trying to start schools, and they don't have the things that they need really set up. So they're putting the cart before the horse. So if you are in the notary industry and you are trying to become a notary, get in the notary industry, and you're trying to do it and you don't have a printer and you don't have a scanner and you don't have paper and you don't have pens and you don't have, manila folders, you're not NNA certified, you haven't gone through the training, you haven't gotten your commission yet, but you're in every clubhouse, you're in every, you've taken all of the trainings that are out there, but you haven't gotten your house in order. You haven't gotten your business house in order. I want to encourage you to do that, because you are going to have a hard time really getting started anyway, because you don't have, your foundation is not solid. The foundation is not solid. And so a lot of times you have got to be able to make sure that you have, like me, I know that I could only put myself out there with so much when I was in that other location. So there was only so many things that I offered, because I know that my house was only in order to a certain level and degree. Especially during the lockdown, I had people calling and I had to tell them, I can't take in any more students at this time. I didn't take in any more students for like almost a year, because of the fact that, everything was so uncertain. And when we talked about it, we had to buy, PPE, the personal protective equipment, mask, and, disposable this and disposable that. So where was I focused in? We had to make sure that we had everything in order. And at that particular time, 2020, May, I think that's when we opened back up. We spent $2,000 on PPE, personal protective equipment, masks, gloves, mask and gloves, and disposable lab jackets, and all of these things. And so we started buying those things in advance, so that when we were able to open back up, I was able to go back in smoothly. And people were asking me, where did you find that? Where were you finding gloves? And what we did? When the state of Georgia, reopened, they were the last state to close down. When it came, to closing, to going into the lockdown, they were the first state to reopen. And so their salons in the state of Georgia were reopening. So me and Griff just looked at their guidelines, the CDC guidelines and stuff like that they said in the state of Georgia. And even though the state of Virginia hadn't reopened yet, we just followed their guidelines. And, you do have to treat your business like a business and not like a hobby and not like a side hustle. And a lot of people do that even with, doing hair. They're like, oh, I do hair on the side. And every time I hear that, it's just so cringy to me, because of the fact that, everything can't be done on your side. I mean, come on. Everything can't be on your side. And I guess I take offense to it, because I've always known that I wanted to be a cosmetologist since I was 12. And so even when I had multiple jobs, when I was, a payroll bookkeeper for an engineering firm, I never said I did hair on the side. I always said, and I also had a job where I was doing hair across the street at the hair cuttery at night. I never said I did hair on the side. That was never a part of my language. And so you have to really figure out what you want to do. You have to think about where you are. When we were during that lockdown, we were planning for the reopening. Okay? That's how you have to think. And those were very, very uncertain times. But were we going to reopen? Of course. Did you think we were going to be closed forever? No. But we had to get ready for it. I had to make signs. They said that we had to have signs. We had to put together protocols and precautions, And yeah, that phrase right there, how's your little business going? I had people saying to me, how's your little company? you know, and stuff like that. They don't talk to me like that anymore.
They don't
Okay.
even talk to me.
Right.
They don't talk.
I don't, that people who disrespect your goals and where you're going or your business, you know, don't give them access anymore. They don't deserve access to what you're doing.
And I would even say there's people in the notary business who don't respect the path that you decided to go down.
Yes.
Because they all will say, in other words, there are people out here, and I know folk ain't gonna like this, but there's people out here who don't like the fact that you're operating with or working with signing companies rather than being direct. There are people out there that don't like that. And they talk smack. And then we all know about the people, don't take this order for this dollar amount or that dollar amount. And that's the same thing. They're not respecting what you're doing. They're not respecting your beginnings. And they're turning around and saying, yeah, what you're doing, I mean, I wouldn't do it, but if you want to, and they're making you feel bad about having some progress and some success in your life. And that's the part that really burns me up and that keeps me out here on YouTube saying the stuff that I'm saying, because they're basically saying what you're doing for success doesn't impress me. They literally want you to run your life in such a way that it impresses them. And then they'll be like, okay, you can be a part of my inner circle. If you can't function the way they want, and that's why I call it the cool kids club, or like Kwame Brown would say, the go along, get along gang. Those are the people you got to be careful of, because they are trying to dictate and they're trying to control the level of success you have, because they don't want you to be more successful than them. And if you are successful by any unconventional means or means that they don't necessarily approve of or support or believe in, then it makes them look foolish. Because if they've told all of their mentees and their students, hey, this is the way you need to do things, and then you come along and you do it and you're successful without ever taking their class, their course, or any of that, they can't have you around them. So this is just a way for them to filter people out.
And we've been like this the whole time. We've been like this even when it came to, with our sons, when they were, competing in the sports that they were competing in. It was like we were always doing the unconventional route, the unconventional path, or the path less taken. And so for us, we're used to it. We're used to it. Even with my school, a lot of the schools are 25, 30, 40 students in them. I'm the opposite. I am one-on-one or micro group. No more than 5 students in the class at a time. Mm-hmm. That is the total opposite to the industry, and people were like, well, you're not going to be able to do this. But I also offer other types of classes that the other cosmetology schools don't want to. They think that that's not enough money.
Right.
So I had a military guy that had called around, young guy in the military, and he said that he wanted to learn how to braid his daughter's hair for her birthday. That's it.
Yeah.
He wasn't trying to become a cosmetologist. He just wanted to be able to style her hair as part of, get her ready for a birthday party. And so I told him, I said, well, it's part of our continuing education classes. It's $35 an hour. And he said, okay. And he came and he said he called around to a lot of other schools and they said, no, we don't do that. No, we don't do that. We don't do that. And so a lot of the things that I offer at my school is because of the things that the other schools say that they look down on it. If it's not the whole entire cosmetology program, which is the granddaddy of them all, where there are schools charging upwards of 30 grand to go to cosmetology school, they don't want to have anything to do with you. So I do offer per hour classes, for people who are like, hey, I just want to learn how to plait my child's hair, or I just want to learn how to cornrow my child's hair. and things of that nature. And I offer those on Sundays. I offer those on Sundays. They're, they come in, they're one-on-one. We supply all of the supplies. And then he wanted to buy, the mannequins that he used. So we had them on site, and he was able to purchase the mannequins. He was able to purchase some combs, some clips, and a mannequin stand, and take it home and to continue to practice at home. You're not going to get that at another cosmetology school. And people would tell me that, oh, we don't do that. People, we don't do that. You're not going to make any money doing that. But you can. You can make money doing things like that. And my husband taught me this he's taught me a lot, but he's taught me this. He said, some money is better than zero money. And a lot of times, if you are constantly, trying to run your business to impress others, you'll be on the outside looking in, while other people are, while other people are out there working, running their business, growing their business, getting that experience, and if you're trying to run your business to impress whoever and not doing business, you can end up being pushed out of the business because you become irrelevant, because you've never grown.
Yeah, you're not doing anything.
You're not doing the business. So you've got to think, if you're going to, yes, it is key to stick to your plan and stick to your business model, Matherin. That is so true, because that's what I have done. There are people that, don't you want to do this? We don't accept financial aid. And people are like clutching their imaginary pearls when we say we don't, that we're a cash pay school. That is a business model. That is a business model of mine. We have people, one of the biggest problems we have right now is student loan debt. And that's quote unquote financial aid. And so what we want to do is give people an opportunity. And our school is not for everybody. I always say, if I'm not your cup of tea, don't pour me. If you go to one of the other schools that offer financial aid, just know that there's criteria and things that come along with that. Okay. And so one of the things that goes along with my business is that we are a cash pay school. And, we are unapologetic about that. I am very unapologetic about that. And there are only going to be certain types of people who are going to be able to attend the school. But it allows us to be able to teach our students, give them the individualized attention that they need. We're able to purchase the supplies, the equipment, the tools to be able to effectively teach them face to face. And that's the thing. And so it's not popular yet. It'll
get popular,
but it'll get popular
when
soon.
they ain't making money in what they think is popular,
right?
And stuff. So, and I just want to talk to y'all about the Notary Success System that I'm doing. The Notary Success System is here, and my approach is way different, because a lot of people are looking at volume of human being bodies in a classroom. I'm telling y'all, look, I've spent well over a year just talking to y'all, and I found out that as smart as many of you are, when it comes to doing stuff online, people blank out with that. People are blanking out. It's like, yeah, you're sitting, and I'm not against the Zoom classes, because you can learn, but you got to be willing to learn. However, here's the difference. Now, for those of y'all who have responded, went to the Notary Success System, went to the website, and submitted the form and all of that, I'm going to be getting with y'all, and we're going to be having a Zoom meeting probably this weekend. And it will be this weekend. It'll be probably Saturday evening or something, and Saturday or Sunday, or Saturday and Sunday, But here's the thing. I already know some people are going to want to try to slide in to try to figure out what I'm doing and how I'm doing it, which is fine. But here's the thing, and this is what I want to share with y'all. In order to really teach somebody how to do a loan closing face to face, they got to have some experience. If they don't have any experience, I'm telling you, you're not going to be satisfied at all, because you can't just base your teaching somebody the loan documents on, in my opinion, 6 months to a year of experience. So you got to have I mean, 1,700 notarial assignments under my belt. Now, note what I'm saying: 1,700 notarial assignments, and then each assignment has probably about 8 to 10 different notary duties that I got to do on each
notarial
one. No
acts.
notarial acts.
Mhm.
So you're talking about well over maybe 4 or 5 thousand notarial acts that I've done. The assignment is one thing, but the act, and then each act sometimes is different within a loan closing or within a general notary work. So I've done probably at least about 5,000 different notarial acts in the last 4 years. So I have some experience, and I can teach you based on that experience, where other people are teaching you based off of their excitement. Now I know some of you who agree, who like me and all that, you think I'm not coming at you, but I got to give a differentiation. But I'm also trying to say, for those of you who have not done or looking to do what I'm doing now, for as the face to face, you go back. I'm telling you now, don't hop out here trying to do face-to-face loan doc training, because when you come to my stuff, it's you're going to do 3 to 5 loan closings, and you don't get any help. You're going to be sitting there, and you're going to have to do the close to the best of your ability based off of what you have learned or not learned, or whatever you taught yourself or learn from somebody else, or whatever the case may be. And we're going to see what you made of. And as an instructor doing that, you have to have your act together to be able to pick up what is going on and where the errors are and why they're making that, and then to be able to correct them. But this isn't a thing of, oh, they get stuck and then it's like, okay, Griff, what I do? No, I'm the signer. You can't ask me, because I'm not Griff at that moment. I'm the signer, and you got to be on your P's and Q's. That's what the notice success system is about, and that's why I'm only doing 1 to 5 people per session, and that's why it's not going to be online, which I've keep saying over and over, and people keep asking me, is it going to be online? It's not. It's not going to be online. It's not going to be online. So you're going to have your act together to
And
hold on.
in order for him to be able to really effectively simulate, and those of you who have done any type of simulation training,
Yeah, it
you know
got to be in person.
you are put in an
the
atmosphere
sphere.
of a closing. And I was there when he did his first, class one-on-one with the student. And you do need to have that focus. I agree with him with what he's saying, that you do have to have a level of experience when you're teaching. Um, it just can't be about you trying to, get rich quick, make a lot of money. Um, it cannot be about that, because when you are teaching and you're instructing, you are actually facilitating how you're going to disseminate information to somebody else. And you're evaluating at the same time. You're evaluating what somebody's doing, what they're not doing, what they may have missed. If there's a place where they were supposed to sign, where they were supposed to date, where they were supposed to stamp or seal, whichever one that you're using. And if you don't have that high level of experience yourself as a notary, how can you possibly, pass that information or create a simulated environment to be able to do that at a high level?
Right. And that's the thing and that's what I've been. And look, I've talked to multiple people, and I'm not, and again, I'm not against and saying that you shouldn't do anything online. But when you come to a point that either, and I've talked to many people who teach online, and this is the website, go there, read this section here, read this here, and like I said, read before submitting. Okay. Don't submit if you're in California. I ain't coming out there. It's that simple. All right. But here's the thing. I've talked to multiple people who do online training, and they all agree that when a person, the student, doesn't learn, it's one of two, is one of three issues. The instructor isn't competent and able to teach effectively to induce learning. The student doesn't allow themselves to learn, or they don't understand how to learn in an online environment, whether it's live on Zoom or through pre-recorded,
asynchronous,
or the third is basically a combination of the two, that the instructor doesn't know how to get the knowledge across, facilitated across, and the student is being resistant because it's not the way they thought it would be. So the moment you do something online, as well as face to face,
no willingness to learn,
and see, it's easier to me. I can sense when you're not willing to learn when I'm face to face, and then I can stop and be like, okay, the reason why, because what happens on Zoom, everybody wants to hide their face. Nobody wants to put their face up there. And that's why I like to have the Zooms where I see everybody, because then I can tell whether or not you are actually getting it. So put a bonnet on. I don't care. Fix your head, trim your beard up, whatever you got to do. Look, you're worrying about how you look. Okay, we're talking about conducting business in class, then you need to be looking like you're going to conduct business in class. Stop trying to go to every kind of, that's why I know so many of y'all love Clubhouse, because you don't actually have to fix yourself up to be on there. You can look like whatever. And let's just be real, men and women, no matter what the race is, whatever, the majority of the time we are looking like, we're not really walking around dressed and got our stuff together. We are, unless we feel that we're doing business or we're going to go to the bank and if you're going to the bank and you just looking like whatever, that means you're not even thinking that you could come across somebody at the bank that might need something notarized. And you coming in there in whatever, and they're looking at you like, you're what? Yeah, I run this such and such business, and you looking like that. I'm not saying you can't go work out and all that. That's different. But when you just looking like you just came out of working in your backyard, then don't then let that business slide by. And there have been times where I've been, and I know I'm looking like a hot mess, and people judge you based off of how you look, not based on what service you can provide them. I just have to let that business go by. It's like, okay, I just miss out on that one. So even when now, if I go and work and do yard and stuff and I got to run somewhere, I freshen up, throw on some different clothes, have my notary bag, and I go out there and do it. But with the notary success system, what we're teaching you, and as the motto says here, helping you develop a system of success for yourself. The goal of the notary success system is to help you to figure out what you need to do in order to be successful, how you're going to be successful in your business, not just mimic what I do, not just mimic what, say the things that I say. I know everybody's buying scripts. I know everybody's buying loan doc, but every single loan document is different, which means the scripts for those loan documents has to be different. So the way you would explain this document, yes, the 4506 T and C are the same. That's where everybody, but the different affidavits are different. The different compliances, there's a 5-day compliance requirement. There's a 15-day and a 30-day. You just can't say the same thing about every single document for every single loan packet. You can't. I did a reverse mortgage that was 230 pages yesterday. And then early in the day before that one, I did one that was 152. Why? I don't know. But each one was different and they had to be dealt with differently. And that's what we teach you there at the Notary Success System, is how to have your brain operating in the right mode so you can pick up on this stuff and work accordingly.
And I think too, piggybacking on what he just said, knowing that really understanding that, I think this is what's getting a lot of people, is that people are under the impression that every set of documents, whether it's loan documents for private residential homes, or whether it's for commercial real estate or what have you, that all of the documents must be the same and everything must be laid out for you. Like you work at McDonald's and they got pictures of the cheeseburger, the hamburger, and the fries. It's not like that. Okay. You have to have a level of comprehension. You have to have a level of critical thinking. You've got to be able to have a level of organization. You've got to, be able to be a self-starter. You have to, know your audience, know the surrounding environment for each particular signing that you're in. Know that what goes for this signing may not work for the next signing. You might have 2 or 3 signings in the same day, and each one of them may be totally different. And understand that if when you sit down to that table or that counter, or you might be, sitting down having somebody sign documents and they give you a pillow to put your documents on top of. Seriously. Okay. And the dog may be sitting next to you, wanting you to pat their head at the same time. These are some of the things that happen in some of these signings. And so you have to really understand in your head that you have to be professional, you have to be focused, you have to understand that I may not be able to take this signing. You have to know your schedule. You have to know what you have on your schedule already before you take a signing. All of these things. So if you know that you already have issues with time management, how you manage yourself with your time, then you're going to have to shore up that soft skill. Okay. You're going to have to really get that part of your life in order. If you know that you have a hard time with doing things under pressure, then that's something that you're going to have to really work at, maybe before you even get into this business. And if there's some of you that are, in this live right now that may be here for the first time, maybe you're thinking about getting into business, you haven't done any loan closings yet, you haven't done any type of notary work yet, you need to, have a list of things that you need to ask yourself. You need to ask yourself, okay, according to what you've already researched and what you've already found out about the notary industry, and do I have the personality to even do this job? Because some people it just doesn't fit. It just doesn't fit. And so even being, his spouse and all of that type of stuff, I had to get used to him always looking on that phone to, pick up the orders. Now I know that is part of what, hi, IMQ. That is part of, that's just part of the job. Mm-hmm. That's just part of, the business. And he does the, not only the loan closings and things of that nature, but of course also the house inspections. So now I understand all of that. But you've got to understand what you can do, what you can't do. And yes, there are some businesses that they're easy to get into. And the notary business, at least here in Virginia, mm-hmm. is easy to get into. It's easy to start it. Mm-hmm. But then people get into it and then they haven't really done their due diligence as far as the research and what it all entails. And that's where the rubber meets the road. You've got to understand that it is more than just about being on TikTok, Clubhouse, Facebook, or Instagram, with all of these fancy things that you do, to look cool and, to be trending, but does it take all of that in this particular industry? That's the key. And so a lot of times you have to look at the audience, the type of people who are going to be looking for a notary.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing, so if twerking on your TikTok, and you're supposed to be advertising, that you're a notary or that you do loan docs and all that kind of stuff, how is all of that relevant to pulling in the type of people who are going to be looking for a notary consistently? For loan documents, for selling houses, for buying houses, for refinancing houses. Are they going to be looking for somebody who is backing it up? Seriously, ask yourself that question, because a lot of times the people are meshing in that social media mindset and everything that you just see on social media in with business, and it just doesn't click. So think about that too, as you are wherever you are on your notary business journey. And think about, am I doing some of these things? And what I am doing, is it helping me to get business, or is it hindering me?
When people start talking, when people say, "Oh, that's so cute," and they just comment, you gotta like, okay, it's cute. Okay, but did it make you want to hire me? See, that's the thing with any marketing and advertising. Everybody's going to say, nobody, just like the outfits that we wear. Oh man, that's nice, the polka dot and stripes and paisley. Oh man, all right, man, all right. But would you hire me coming to your job in an interview dressed like that? You see what I'm saying? So just because they tell you it's nice, they tell you it was lit, you put in a lot of effort to do it, does it relate and does it translate to additional business? Because anything that you're doing for is your marketing and all that, you have to ask yourself, would that make me pick me? Is what I just saw me put on social media, would it make me pick me and give me my money? If what you did will not make you pick you and give you your money, then you probably shouldn't have done it. Did it make you feel good that you accomplished the thing, that you actually did the thing? Yes. But did it really solidify you as a business owner you say you are? Because what you say and what you do is two different things. That's why I took my time rolling out the notary success system, because I wanted to make sure I was doing it right, had everything together, all the logistics. Because let's just be real, I can do it 100% accurate, this, that, and the other half, and I can be putting forth the effort to do it that way and make one little slight mistake, and half of y'all to be like, it wasn't even worth that. I mean, he one of his pens ran out of ink, and I can't believe his pen ran out of ink. So, I mean, can you believe? I mean, out of everything, his pen ran out of ink, and then next thing you know, you tripping because the pen ran out of ink, and you're like, nah. And then you be doing a little video, the truth about Griff's notary success system. His pen ran out of ink. Not pens, just one pen ran out of ink. And yes, I had pens in my notary bag that I brought with me, but I can't believe his pen ran out of ink. I wouldn't go to his training because his pen ran out of ink. You'll spend more time doing that than allowing yourself to learn and grow from what you invested in and it was exposed to. And that's what's happening with a lot of y'all. And this is why, and I understand why a lot of trainers out there get frustrated with y'all because of that. But at the same time, the trainers got to make sure they're doing their part to educate you, and you got to do your part to get educated. And then both of you, then the trainers need to support the trainees in supporting them, and the trainees need to go out there and execute and stop all this being scared stuff. So we just wanted to hop out here.
Yeah, the pen.
Yeah.
Because no, people are petty. People are really petty, pin petty. They really, really are pin petty. And we buy a lot of pins.
I got plenty of
pins.
pins.
We buy a lot of pins. We buy a lot of pins because I do on-site consultations. And do you know the thing that I do before the on-site consultation? I literally test the pin that I'm getting ready to give them to let them, sign whatever papers that they're going to sign, the consultation form, to make sure that it works. I think about all of those things. I think about those things in advance. Should a woman use her first name for her LLC company name? Some
That's
people
up to
have.
you. That's up to
Some
you.
people have.
That is completely up to you. That is completely up to you.
Some people do that, or if you are a little sketchy, yes, yeah. If you're a little sketchy about that, some people, instead of using the actual name, they will use their initials. They will use their initials. Like my initials are Ayaba Griffin. So let's just say AG Notary Services LLC. I'm just using that as an example. If I didn't want to use, my first name in the name, but I wanted to use my name, people are used to acronyms and things of that nature now because of all of the, social media and the text messaging. So if I wanted to use AG Notary Services, I could, so.
Yeah, that's completely up to you and everything. All right, party people, we about to bounce out of here because I got to go to a signing at 4, drop the son off to work and all that. It's a little too wet for him to skateboard, but we just wanted to hop on. The Notary Success System is here. I just ask that you just check it out. Now, again, this is for face-to-face Virginia notaries. At this time, I am not going to be traveling around the country place to place, do it, because my goal is to just do 3 to 5 people at a time, which means I'm not driving all the way down to Florida just to see 3 to 5 people and all of that. Okay. And if I was to do something like that, I would have to be there for like a couple of days and do multiple sessions and all of that, And let's just be real. We know how people are. Oh yeah, I'm gonna show up, and then I'm sitting there in the hotel room and nobody shows up because all of a sudden Man and TT wanted to go to some birthday party, or your spouse was like, nah, we going to do this. You see what I'm saying? So fickle. So that's why I'm starting it here. And then if the opportunity comes to branch it out more, then yes, I will do so. I will do it, and we'll see how all of that works. But right now for Virginia, and if you in Maryland want to slide down here, North Carolina want to slide up, Tennessee you want to slide over to this way, I'll be more than happy to set it up. But go to notarysuccesssystem.com, type, go to the website, and then all you got to do, let me put that there. You go there and submit the form. All the fields are required. So, I mean, I know people are going to be like, yeah, I'm in Richmond, Virginia, when you're in, Kansas City, Missouri, just so you can get an idea of what's going on. But for those of you who might want to try to bite off of what I'm doing and start your own face-to-face training, you best have some experience that you can educate and help these people with, because your excitement people don't want your excitement. They want your experience. And if you are the type of person who's sort of all over the place, can't stay focused, can't be direct, this ain't about fluff. This ain't about bragging about you and your success. This is about helping them to figure out where they're going. Has nothing to do with me. So those of you who might like, well, I'm gonna go take their training because I think it's cheaper, or all of a sudden 15 people pop up saying how they doing face-to-face training, you better make sure they got some experience. You best make sure they got some experience, because if they don't, all you're gonna be doing is wasting your money. All right. So thank y'all for sliding on up in here with us today. Didn't have no fritters because I'm sort of I'm not anti-fritter. I'm just reducing the amount of fritters that I consume. So it's still Fritter Friday, but I guess you could say it's Fritterless Friday. So I'm
Happy Fritterless Friday.
Yeah. So
fritter less.
Yeah. Well, y'all have a good one. I'll catch y'all. Hey, I think Matherin is doing a IG live tonight and YouTube live. So check him out later tonight. And me and the fellas, we're gonna be doing the podcast coming soon. Notaries Unsealed. Y'all saw the promo. That's gonna be on point and popping. So thank y'all again. Y'all have a good one. Peace.
Peace.